So, good day everyone. So, this is our third lesson under the second chapter of Mathematical Language and Symbols, which is the language of relations and functions. Okay, so we're done discussing about the mathematical language and then even the language of sets. So, for the learning outcomes, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to first discuss the concept of relations and functions. Second is identify the range and the domain and the range of the relations. Next is identify relations which are functions and not functions. And then last one is to represent functions and relations using mapping diagram. So those are our learning objective or learning outcomes. Okay, so there are many kinds of relationship in the world. So for instance, we may say that two people have or are related by blood if they share a common ancestor, and that they are related by marriage if one shares a common ancestors which is supposed of the others. So we also speak of the relation between the student and teachers, between people who work for the same employer, and between people who share common ethnic backgrounds. So similarly, the objects of mathematics may be related in various ways. So relations and functions is one of the most important topic in algebra. Relations and functions, these are two words. These two words are so intertwined with one another. You might get confused about their difference. So before we go deeper, so let us understand the difference between these two terms. In real worlds, there are several situations that involves relationship between two sets. We often use the term relation to describe these relationships. So when we speak of the relation in mathematics, we refer to a well-defined relationship between the two sets of numbers. So again, when we talk about relation in mathematics, it's all about the relationship between two sets of numbers. Okay, so try to remember this one. So in mathematics, a relationship between two sets exists when where is a clear rule that defines the relationship from the member of one called the domain and to the other members of the set who are called the range. So in relations and function in mathematics, these two terms very important, which is the domain and then the range. Okay, so for the domain and range, domain is a collection of the first value in the ordered pairs. So simply put, it is the set of all input x values. Okay, si domain, isa lang sinasabi dyan, si domain, siya ang x values sa ordered pair or the first value sa ordered pair. While the range is collection, the second value in the ordered pair. So simply put, it is as the set of all input y values. Okay, kung si domain ay x, si range ay y. Okay, so in relation, as a relation is a set of ordered pair. If x and y are elements of these sets, and if the relations exist between y and x, or x and y, then we say that x corresponds to y, or y depends on x. It is represented as the ordered pair x and y. So, isa lang sinasabi rito, sa relation in mathematics, ang relation sa mathematics ay ordered pair at it is composed by x and y. So, kapag daw si x, ah, kapag ang x and y ay nag-exist, pwede nating sabihin na si x ay nagko-corresponds to y and y ay nakadepende sa x. So, pwede natin sabihin na ang independent variable ay si x at ang dependent variable ay si y kasi si y nakadepende sa x. And then si x, independent yun, any value that he have or he want. So, pwede niyang i-kunin yun. Okay, so again, for the ordered pair, so ang gagamitin natin itong x and y. So, next, so for example, we have a set of A, which is 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, and then 4, 6. Okay, so let us identify all the domain. Again, the domain is a x coordinate, and then y is range is the y ordinate or the y value. So the domain, so from this ordered pair or this set, ang domain natin ay C1, C2, C3, and then C4. So our domain are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there, and then our range is 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So those are our range, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So therefore, if we're going to write the domain and range in set, okay, so D is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, and the range is equal to 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is a simple example for the domain and range. Okay, so next example, so we have set B, so it is equal to negative 2, 7, negative 1, 3, 0, 1, 1, 5, and then 2, 5. Okay, so let's find the domain and then the range. So the domain, so we have negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and then 2. And then for our range, we have 7, 3, 1, and then 5. Okay, so sometimes 5 is written as 1. Okay, so for the domain, we have negative 1, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. And then for our range, we have 1, 3, 5, and then 7. So as you can see, 5, I wrote once lang kasi doesn't matter kung okay, kung madami siya. Pero dito sa set na kapag nagsusulat tayo ng set, okay, hindi na inuulit ang paulit-ulit. Okay, so sinusulat lang isang beses ang mga numbers na may maraming occurrences. Okay, third example. Okay, so for the relation, set set C is equals to 3, 0, 3, 2, 7, 4, and then 9, 1. So let's find the domains. We have for the first ordinate, the domain is the first ordered pair, the domain is 3, and then the second ordered pair is 3, third ordered pair is 7, and then the fourth ordered pair is 9. Okay, for each range we have 0, 2, 4, and then 1. So if we're going to write this down into set, D is equal to 3, 7, 9, and then the range is 0, 1, 2, 4. So as you can see, sinusulat natin ang set in ascending order. Okay, para mas okay tignan. Okay, so domain range as a function. Okay, so function is relation which describes that there is only one output for each input. So, ibig sabihin ng only one output for each input. So, meron lang kailangan isang x sa bawat y. Okay, so si x nagko-corresponds only to only one y. So it is a special kind of relation which follows the rules that every x values should be associated to only y values. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Si x nagko-corresponds only to one y. So ayan, tatandaan yan para ma-identify nyo kung function o hindi. Okay, so for example, so we have set E. The order pairs are 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7, and then 4, 8. So let's find the domain and then the range. So the domains are 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the range are 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Okay, so as we can see, si domain nag-corresponds only to 1 y. Okay, si 1 nag-correspond only to 1 to only 5. Si 2 nag-responds only sa 6. Okay, si 3 ay nag-corresponds lang sa 7. Si 4 ay nag-corresponds lamang sa 8. So, yan ang ating set of domains and then the set of range. So, for our domain, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for the range, we have 5, 6, 7, and 8. Example number 2. Set F, we have 4, 7, 9, 7, 8, 1, and then 6, 5. Okay, so let's find the domain. The domains are 4, 9, 8, and then 1. Okay, so let's see. Let's find the range. So we have 7, 7, 1, and then 5. So ito, si domain, si X, nag-correspond lamang to 1y. Si domain now 9 nag-correspond only to 1y, which is 7. So even though they are the same, okay, so it doesn't matter kasi ang usapan lang naman dapat si X nagko-correspond sa Y. So, may yun lang naman ang usapan doon. So, as we can see, si 4 ay nag-correspond sa 7, si 9 nag-correspond sa 7. Okay, so ganun yun. So, dito naman, we have 8 corresponds to 1, Y which is 1. And then si 6 ay nag-correspond sa 1Y which is the number 5. So the set of domains are 4, 6, 8, 9. The set of range are 1, 5, and then 7. Okay, so next, example number 3. Okay, so we have 3, 8, 4, 8, 5, 7, 8, and then 9, 8. So the domains are 3, 4, 7, and then 9. And then the range are all 8. Okay, so as you can see, as you notice, okay, so these are functions because there's only one output, which is range. Okay, so the input are the domains, and then the outputs is uh, the range. Okay, so the set of domains are 3, 4, 7, 9, and then the range are 8 and uh, only 8. Okay, so try to remember this one. Okay, so all functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. Okay, so sabi dyan, lahat daw ng function ay relation, pero hindi lahat ng relations ay functions. Okay, so next is the mapping diagram. So aside of using tables, so another way of representing relations and functions is through the use of mapping diagrams. So it is like a flow chart showing the input and output values. A mapping diagram consists of two parallel columns. The first column represents the domain, and then the second column is its range. Okay, so for example, our set J, we have 4, 7, 9, 3, 8, 1, and then 6, 5. So our domains are 4, 6, and 8, and 9, and then our range are 1, 3, 5, and 7. So let's try to draw oblong. Yan. So, sabi dito, ang first column, ito yung domain natin. And then the second column is the range. So, let us write down all the domains, which are 4, 6, 8, and 9. And then for the range, we have 1, 3, 5, and then 7. So, sa mapping diagram, imamap natin yung ordered pair na to. So, saan ba siya nag-correspond? So, imamap natin si 4 to 7. 4 to 7. Next is 3 and 6, 9 and 3. We have 9 and 3. Next is 8 and 1. And the last one we have 6 and 5. So that is how the mapping diagram goes. Okay. Next example. Set J. We have 3, 8, 3, 4, 7, 6, and then 9, 3. The domains are 3, 4, 7, 9, and then the range are 3, 6, and then 8. So let's try to draw another two columns, and then the first column is the domain, and then the second column is the range. So write down all the domains, which are 3, 4, 7, and then 9, and then our range is 3, 6, and then 8. So let us mark 3, 8. Okay, 3, 8. Next is 4, 8. So we have 4, 8, 7, 6. So we have 7, 6, and then 9, 3. We have 9, 3. Okay. So that is how we map the set K. Okay, so types of functions using mapping diagram. Okay, so for example, so we have set M 5, 7, 6, 2, 8, 1, and then 3, 9. Okay, so ito yung mga domain natin. 5, 3, 5, 6, and 8, and our range are 2, 1, 2, 7, and 9. So let us draw two columns, the domain and then the range. Write down all the domains, which are 3, 5, and then 6, 8. And for the range, we have 1, 2, 7, and then 9. Okay, so let's map 5, 7. We have 5, 7. Next is 6, 2. 6, 2. Next is 8, 1. And then last one is 3, 9. Okay, so kapag nakita natin na ang si domain ay nag-correspond to only one range, ang tawag doon ay one-to-one functions. Okay, so yan ang one-to-one function. Okay, so next type of function is this example. So we have the set n 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 7, 6, and then 3, 9. So the domains are 3, 4, 7, 9, and then the range are 1, 3, and then 6. Okay, so let's go through columns. Okay, so our oblong, the first column is the domain, the second column are range. So write down all the domain. We have 3, 4, 7, and then 9, and then the range are 1, 3, and then 6. Okay, ngayon, let's map 3 and then 1. 3 and 1. So we have 4 and 1. 4 and 1. We have 7 and 6. And then we have 3 and 9. Okay, so as we can see, okay, setong si domain, okay, etong domain natin na 3 and 4, nag-corresponds lamang sa iisang range. Kaya ang tawag doon ay many to one. So may dalawa o higit na domain na correspond sa iisang range. Okay, so paano naman ang one to many? Ang one to many ay tinatawag na not functions. Bakit? Okay, so let's try to look this example. So you have set O, you have 2, 4, 2, 3, 8, 1, and then 6, 5. So the domains are 2, 6, 8, and then the range are 1, 3, 4, 5. So let's go through all along. The first column is the domain, and then the second columns are the range. So write down all the domains 2, 6, and then 8. And then we have one ranging 1, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay, so let's try to map this order pair. We have 2, 4, 2, 3, 8, 1, and then 6, 1. Okay, so this is one-to-many function. Pag one-to-many, hindi siya function. Bakit? Kasi nga si domain nag-correspond sa dalawang range which is 3 and 4. Okay, so yun yung ibig sabihin niyan. So, paano natin, ano yung mga keywords natin para malaman natin na ito ay function or not functions? So, parang ganito lang yan. Okay, so let's talk about relationship. Okay, so one-to-one function, ikaw nagjowa ng isa. Okay, ikaw ay nagjowa ng isa. So, nagpa-function yun. Hindi siya magpa-function pag ikaw ay nagjowa na higit sa isa. Di ba? Yan. So, yun lang isa niyang tatandaan para isang bagay na matatandaan nyo para malaman nyo kung function or not function. So, parang ito, di ba? Yung example natin na not function. Si 2, ginawa niya si 3, ginawa niya rin si 4. Kaya siya hindi nag-function. Okay, so, ang usapan dito sa lahat ng set, okay, sa isang set, pag may isa, okay, pag may isa na nag-correspond sa higit sa isang range, okay, hindi na siya function. So, automatic yun. Okay, so, that's all for today. Thank you for listening. Keep safe and God bless.